Hey besties, let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? Besties, I done caught a cold watching Salt Lake City. Child, just sick. Next week, I gotta turn my heater. See that? I'm, excuse me. I'm gonna have to turn my heater on next week and curl up in a blanket to watch this show. Cause how come production only films in the wintertime in Salt Lake City? Do they even get a spring or a summer? You know, last week them girls was cold standing outside at that party Lisa had for Valentine's Day, the Bezos party. You know they was cold. Oh, child. Oh, and Mary, I got some questions for you, Mary. You said your son is 21. He get the munchies. You feed him donuts. No plate, no paper towel. He doesn't have a job right now. He's not in school. You have him sheltered. And I really believe that he will eventually be your son husband. But speaking of husband, is he a husband? You didn't know last season. Is the boy married or not? Is the girl downstairs hiding? What's going on? And speaking of married, Mary, are you still married to your step grandfather? Because I could easily see you keeping your son sheltered for the rest of his life or the rest of your life, and he'll turn into a sister. He'll turn into a son husband. Especially if you get divorced, because I do remember you were allegedly trying to divorce your step grandfather. But hey, I'm glad to see you back on my TV. Hey, besties. Welcome to Behind the Shade. Let's throw some shade and get into another episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 5, Episode 2, Walking a Tightrope. Of course, we're going to change this title. Don't like it. Nope. Mm-mm. We get the point, but we don't like it. And, besties, how would you rate this week's episode? The girls have clocked in. They are here. The new girls have clocked in. I'm gonna give it a high score. As we talk about it, I'll figure it out. I'm between an 8 and maybe a 10, somewhere there. If you want me to just go ahead and just throw something out, I'll just say a 9. I'll give this episode a 9. Put down in the comments what you give it. So let's get started. Okay, so Lisa, Bronwyn, they get in the car. They go pick up Heather. They're headed to Wendy's. Now, Lisa, as we know, is disgusted with Whitney for going on that podcast, and she's disappointed in Angie for going back to tell Whitney what Lisa said about her. Yeah, you was out of pocket for that, Angie. And she knew it. So she called Lisa in the car with Bronwyn. So she asked Bronwyn, like, be quiet, I want to talk to her. Don't say nothing. She like, bet, go ahead, girl. But she's all ears, of course. And so she just kind of wants to meet with her and so they can talk. So they go pick up Heather. They're headed to Wendy's, y'all. And that was the end of that little scenario. Like, where were they really going? Were they really going to Wendy's? Is Wendy's a sponsor now? Because that was hecka random to get up in that cold, get dressed, to go to a drive-through and eat. Where were they going after that? Goodness. So Heather says she will reach out to Whitney to get, her take on things. Because, honey, Bronwyn was in the car reading Whitney for filth, honey. Like she was going in. And Heather back there calculating everything. Because since Monica last season, it seems to me like Heather is trying to get in front of everything. She wants to get ahead of the story, in front of it. She don't want to be taken down again. She doesn't want to be blindsided. She wants to throw the shade, not catch it. Okay. So we go over here with Meredith and Seth. They're going out on a date. They're taking a cooking class together, real cute. And so Meredith tells Seth that she's ready to get bar mitzvahed at her big old age. Honey, is that even possible? But she said it is. So it is, and it shall be. Lisa and Angie meet up for lunch, a short lunch. Angie feels like Lisa, Heather, and Meredith ganged up on Whitney. I mean, okay, it can seem like that. Lisa says, no, you told Whitney what I said to you in private. So that's Lisa's issue. Uh-huh. And so she said, well, I didn't like tell people what you said. It's just like Angie said in her confessional, like, I just told Whitney what Lisa said because she felt like Whitney owed Lisa an apology and she felt like they could then move on after that. No, Angie, that was not your call to make. You messed up the thing, and now you trying to fix the thing or trying to throw it on something else. But I think you know you messed up and you need to own it. Okay. So Angie feels like she's a good friend to Lisa. And says Lisa makes it hard. Well, you do too, sweetheart. Now Lisa is ghetto and all kinds of things, but Lisa is real, in my opinion. So she was like, for example, Heather taking up for you, like y'all are a team. Lisa says Heather can take up for herself. What are you talking about? She was just frustrated. Meredith was frustrated because the same things keep happening. Lisa, in her confessional, says her and Angie would get along better if Angie would take the time to understand her. Right. She feels like Angie wants her to think like her. Gotcha. Got it. We clocked that, Lisa. So Lisa is strong and she deserves to be heard. Yeah, but we can hear you, Lisa, and that could be something you need to work on. We hear you. You talk, you scream when you talk. We all hear you from our homes, through the TV and through the other ear. You just are loud. You need to bring it down. Listen to some of these people, okay? Okay, yeah. You're strong. Yeah. You talk over people too. So work on that. If she uses her hands when she talks too, you need to work on that, sweetie. And she's like, because I'm passionate. No, you're ghetto. And you need to bring it down. Yes, you are. My opinion, allegedly. Angie doesn't feel heard by Lisa. Shoot, nobody does. It's Lisa. Hold on, y'all. Let me get some of this water. Are you guys drinking your water too? Angie doesn't feel heard by Lisa. She feels like she just wants Angie to agree with her, and she's not doing that this time. Well, you guys are kind of the same on that note. Lisa's still talking. She knows who the bleep she is. People want to think I'm a villain, I'm self-centered, and I'm a beep. And so she says, I'm over it. And Angie is saying, this is not the point. And since it's not, Lisa gets up and she leaves the restaurant. Super ghetto. So we over at Bronwyn's house and we meet her husband, Todd. Hey, old man. They met at a bar in San Francisco. She was in finance. He asked for her email address. Her friends teased her and said probably because he didn't know how to text. But honey, y'all didn't know that you were talking to the CEO of the Palm Pilot. So honey, he knew how to text. That was the appropriate way to holler at a woman, was to ask for her email. There's a huge age difference. Let's not act like there isn't. Um, we learned that he was the CEO of the Palm Pilot, and she thought he wanted to holler at her so he could mentor her. He does private equity now. He has a hedge fund, and he has to go to New York often on business. Gwen is not his daughter. She had Gwen when she was 19 and she was in college, and her interior designer comes over. And I couldn't be more happier to see him because, honey, her house is a mess. It's a beautiful house. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful house, right? but she doesn't know how to decorate. And it's not complete. They still have chairs and boxes and crates and just what is happening. It is given child. Brahma's house is worse than Giselle's house over there in Potomac, honey. So the interior designer, he couldn't even hold it in. He was like, oh my goodness, let's start in the dining room. Oh, I can't wait to see the after, honey. So this is why she doesn't have company. Thank God, honey, because I don't know if it was a circus, but it was definitely giving Giselle help me out vibes. Whitney meets Heather at the crystal store. She tells her that she can't spend over $500. Excuse me. Whitney feels ganged up on, and you should. Heather says they all were just saying the things she's done has happened to them too. Whitney says in her confessional, if Lisa would have listened to her, she wouldn't have to go on a podcast to get her thoughts out. I'm paraphrasing. Me calling her a liar over my feelings is no different than me calling her a liar for her being mad at me. And good point. That was a good point, Wendy. Whitney. Who is Wendy? Whitney. Oh, honey. Question, besties. Just like on OC, right? I feel like Emily and Gina should switch names because Emily looks more like a Gina or acts more like a Gina, and Gina acts more like a Emily. On Salt Lake City, I feel like Heather and Whitney should switch names. Get into it just for a second. Like, for real, besties. Heather, her name should be Whitney because Whitney acts like a Heather. She just does. So Heather tells Whitney, it's like you just don't DGAF. And if you know Heather been initialing and she been acronyming all episode. So it's like you just don't DGAF. You guys know what that means, right? Don't give a beep. You're going, you're on your healing journey. Your friends just have to deal with it, huh? And you said, you do a lot of damage and people have their limits. Whitney wished Heather would have stood up for her. Heather apologized and said, but if three of your friends are telling you the same thing, and then Whitney agrees, that's something I need to look into. Yes. Whitney tells Heather about her trip that she was going to invite the ladies on before the fiasco happened. She wants all the girls to come with her to Milwaukee to Trixie's bar. Now, remember, Trixie has the hotel in Palm Springs they went to last season. Well, Trixie has a gay bar in Milwaukee. I believe Trixie is from Milwaukee. So she wanted the girls to all go for like just a quick trip to a drag show. And then she tells Heather that she met up with Bronwyn, and then they do a flashback to them in the car talking. And Heather is like, looking like, okay. She's concerned. Heather is like, the Bronwyn that doesn't like her? Then she said, I can't even laugh. Then she says she will get everyone together for a team building event. Okay, Miss Boss at the place over there. So now we're back at Meredith's house, her new home that she moves into every season. She's in the kitchen with her kids making bath bombs. Let me get some water, besties. So she tells her kids that Whitney is copying her idea of the bath bombs. Now remember, Whitney don't even like baths, so that's even weirder for her to be doing this because she said that baths are nasty. You know how Meredith requests to have a bathtub when they go on their trips? Yeah, that's what Whitney was saying. Clock that T. So then she tells her kids that she's going to get bar mitzvahed, and they laugh at her because they're like, aren't you supposed to do that at 13? And it's like her daughter Chloe is a whole entire vibe. She is hecka cool. She either is in tune to hip hop, she may have some black friends, or she dates black men. But she got a little vibe to her. I like Chloe. I can get down with her. She got a vibe. She sounds like a good time. So they teasing her while they're in the kitchen making the recipe for her bath bombs, and Mr. Brooks is in there helping her out. So Heather goes to play pickleball with Brittany, and Brittany is her Mormon friend that she always refers to her as. And so she's twice divorced, we learned. And child, we learned that her ex-husband was messing with her new boyfriend's ex-fiance. So she messes with the Ozma's nephew, Jared. So Jared was engaged. And so her husband was messing with his fiance, and he reached out and told her. So they built a trauma bond and they became best friends. And now they are romantic, but they can't stay together for nothing, honey. She keeps telling us they have broken up 16 times. Honey, that is 15 times too many. Oh, gosh. So they're trying to play pickleball. This girl don't even know where to stand. And so production had to butt in and say, oh, yeah, you stand behind the line. And I'm like, oh, no, not the production team had to tell you what to do in the middle of filming. Get a clue, girl. Excuse me, bestie. Sorry. So Brittany asked Heather, why isn't she dating? And she said, and so Heather's like, my life is going in a good direction and I don't want to screw it up with a man. What? She said, honey, she was miserable in her marriage, so we're going to let her have the miserable man part. And she said, being Mormon, you tend to put your husband's needs before yours and your kids. And we don't do that in the Black community. So Christian community, I didn't know that was a thing. But I'm not a Mormon. How would I know? But this is interesting. Wouldn't you guys say? So Brittany has felt uncomfortable being single because she values a romantic relationship because the Mormons forced that on you. She sacrificed her kids for a man. In the Mormonism, there is a celestial law that they believe you can get into heaven without having kids, but you cannot get in heaven without having a husband. Wow. Whoa. What? So the women prize relationships over everything else. That is terrible. That is terrible. Yeah, Heather, stay single for a while. Just wait. Work on you and just wait, because that is a lot. That's heavy. Whew. So Two-Faced and Bronwyn visits Angie at her salon to catch up. Angie at the shop, she looking cute over there, lying to the clients, talking about my blowout was expensive, but I woke up like this. She over there selling products and services, doing what she's supposed to be doing. We saw Sean again. He was walking through the shop. Hey, Sean. And so they are working on their 10th hair salon in Salt Lake City. I want to Google that. Are all 10 salons in the same city or just surrounding areas? But nonetheless, that is awesome. And so she said, despite the rumors of them breaking up and doing terrible in business, they are closer and stronger than ever because of it. And then she thanks Meredith. Thanks, Meredith. Little shade. Angie tells Bronwyn she likes her. She's kind of like, what did you think about me? Because how the night turned bad. I just didn't want to, how do you think of me now? So Bronwyn was like, she loves Lisa, but what was said about her was true. Oh, excuse me, was true. Told you, girl, Salt Lake City got me cold. So Bronwyn says she loves Lisa, but what was said about Lisa was very true. Wow. Whitney does feel like she has to do what Lisa wants a lot. She told Whitney she has to find a different way to, get her point across. So then they bring up Brittany. Oh, gosh. So, Bronwyn is not too fond of that Brittany because, she don't know how to, her words. She needs a thesaurus. She doesn't know how to speak. And so Angie tells her that they went bowling, and Brittany was still talking about Bronwyn's fur heart jacket, the YSL. So Bronwyn was like, that girl can't even spell YSL. I was like, no, she didn't. The shade, the shade. Bronwyn gives me Monica vibes. She just does. Besties, doesn't she remind you of Monica? Yes or no? You don't have to agree. This is a safe space. But she kind of looks like Monica a little bit. And she definitely reminds me of her. And I love her shade, honey. She can't even spell YSL. Well, how do she spell it, girl? YLS? Yep. So Bronwyn says she doesn't have a lot of strong female friendships because she can't trust women. They judge, they talk about her, so she feels let down. So I understand that. And that can be, interesting and heartbreaking, actually. Breaking up with a friend is worse than a relationship, I'll say. It's terrible to break up with a friend. Oh, MG, have you guys been through that? Child. That's another story for another day, huh? So, honey, they get to the zip line, Utah. Child, what are we doing here? Everyone shows up. Mary is not excited to see Brittany because she called her poor. Let's just stop. Let's go back to last week's episode. Mary, you said you had 5 siblings. You guys went without, or you didn't have enough. What was the word? We went without. We didn't. Oh no, I think it was we didn't have enough. Blah blah blah. And then you get into more in this episode, and it gives poor vibes when you say it was 5 of us and we never had enough. What does that mean to you? Golly. But we're glad to see Mary, aren't we? Whitney wants an apology from Lisa, but knows she wants the same from her. And you end up giving it to her too, girl. I bet you didn't see that coming either. Lisa has a way of conniving you. Lisa is avoiding Angie and Whitney. And Angie says, it's bad when you're more excited to see Meredith than Lisa. And I can't even laugh. I'm gonna start coughing. But that was funny. Okay. All of them go on a zip line and rope thing with these tight ropes. Everybody goes except for Meredith. I can't believe Mary went. And so, child, the commentary going up on those ropes was funny. All of it was funny. Their friend, what's her name? Maylee comes and she sis is everybody. She says sister, like sis. She says sis a lot. And somebody pointed it out. I think it was Lisa. And so I even think the guys that worked there had to go up and get 2 of them down because they didn't want to come back on those ropes again. Oh, child, I wouldn't have done it. Even looking at it was scary. Why did Heather even pick this activity? So afterwards, there's a food truck that comes and they're ordering food from this taco truck. And child, Brittany wants to toast to her and Jared finally making it official that they go together. But I didn't write the notes about Mary didn't want the salsa because it would give her gas. That was funny. Okay. So she says that he made it IG official, Instagram official. So Lisa, old nosy bug, goes to his post, and it's a picture of them in Costco. He's pushing her in a basket, and he says something about her being his best friend. So Lisa says, oh, no. It's not official. It's not official. And Mary asked, why should we even care? But Lisa's saying that it's not official because he didn't say you was his woman. It says best friend. So boo-boo, it's not official. And so Brittany even told her, I just want you to be happy for me. So Mary, and she tells Mary, Mary says, why should we care? She was like, oh, Mary, rude. And she said, well, just like you were the other night, girl, then they had a back and forth and back again. You call me poor. I don't care about your best friend. I thought this was a group of my friends. I don't know you. Child. Then Lisa interrupts their back and forth and says she thinks that he's working her over. Ooh, the shade. So Whitney says she's gone to dinner with them, and you're really into him. He cares about you, and she agrees with Lisa though. And child was like, oh God. And so he says, because he claims you as a best friend, not a girlfriend, honey. Brittany says it was a big step for her. And she gets all emotional because they are declining her relationship. That was so funny. That was such a funny moment. And I'm laughing. Probably that's when I was getting sick, laughing. And Heather is like, she's repairing her relationship with her family. And she wants demanding respect for Brandy. I didn't call the girl Brandy. She's demanding respect for Brittany. And so she says she's repairing her relationship. And so Lisa said, well, what are her issues? And it's like, her daughter don't talk to her. Why? Everybody's like, why? It's complicated. It is really personal. Oh, child, here go Mary. Mary's like, oh, you trust us to tell us about your boyfriend, but you don't want to, and you don't want to tell us about, what's going on in your family. You don't want anything to do with me. So why should I share my personal details? I'm kind. You're difficult. You need some soul searching. That's what Mary told her. And she said, ooh, here we go, y'all. If you were kind, why can't you make amends with your children? Oh my God. Mary, don't you weep. Tell Mary not to moan. No, that didn't say that right, but you know what I mean. Martha, Mary. So that's what I think the name of this episode should have been titled. Why can't you make amends with your children? That's what I liked. And I got some more. If that's too long, I got some more. But that was it right there. Why can't you make amends with your children if you're kind? Oh my God, Mary just, man, whoo. So Mary in her confessional says this reminds her of her mother. Running behind a man, 5 kids at home, not feeding them, don't know if they ate, their kids running loose, no discipline, no love. Mary, you are describing poor behavior. I'm sorry, I have to say it. You're mad at her. That word poor triggered you, but it is valid. And it triggers you because of it. And you just explained to us why you did grow up poor. And it doesn't have to mean monetarily. There may have been money around, but you didn't have access to it. So it made you without. It made you without food, love, discipline. You did grow up poor. You guys probably have more in common than you actually know. Because there's a reason why you wanted to, I do know your grandmother told you to marry her husband. I do know that, but there has to be, you and Brittany are more similar than you think. I bet. And I hope they end up being friends because I think they have a lot in common. They do. So, yeah. Okay. So after that, do you guys agree, like, how you are? So wait, this was funny. So Brittany told Mary to shut up. And she all, shut me up. You shut up. Don't bring up my kids. And so in Mary's confessional, she excuse me. In Mary's confessional, she says that Brittany is not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and she's not even the sharpest spoon either. Girl, Mary is nuts. That Mary is nuts. I love it. Oh, welcome back, Mary. Welcome back. Okay, so who is that? Heather chimes in and said that it's going too far. And so Mary said, "Oh, it's not going enough. It hasn't gone far enough." Oof. Mary, don't come for Mary. Heather, don't come for Mary, honey, you inbred. Don't you do it, because I'm still laughing at that comment, honey. Don't you come for Mary. Mary is she okay? It's a definite 9. This episode is a definite 9. Okay. Oh, another. Okay, wait. Here goes some other titles I have. Shut me up could be one, or how about Mary rude, or how about I don't care about your boyfriend. I think I don't care about your boyfriend was a hit. I think that was it. I think I don't care about your boyfriend should have been the title. Yeah, I think that, but I got a few. Shut me up. What y'all think about that? No, not enough. It's not strong enough. Oh, wait, I got one more down here. Hold on. Okay, so Brahman says Brittany is unhinged. What? I mean, I want to learn something about you that's not unhinged. She's like, you're on again, off again. You're in Costco, in a cart. You called us hoarders. You come to the party hot and wild. Girl, get your words tight. Now that should be the title. Girl, get your words tight. I had that underlined too. What y'all think about that one? But actually, now that Mary is back, I know Mary is going to say something in every episode that she's in that could be the title. I'm almost positive that every episode I'm going to want to change the title to something Mary said. So I'm going to give this a week to Bronwyn. Girl, get your words tight. That was a good one. Heather tells her, and the same applies to you because you've been going around giving everybody a different story with your two-faced self. That's me paraphrasing. I was like, clock in, Heather. Heather is clocking in too, honey. That weight loss is boosting up that self-esteem. Get into it, Emily from OC. Get into it. She is clocking in, honey. I got to do that again. Heather said, oh, and the same applies to you because you've been going around giving everybody a different story. Whitney says, you support her. And when you was with Lisa, you was Team Lisa, saying horrible things about Whitney. Whitney asked, what did she say? Brahman was making fun of Whitney, saying, do you want to meet the healed me? But Brahman told that to Whitney. But was the energy different though? That's what you got to clock in, Whitney. What was the energy? You know what I'm saying? Because when she was in that car, I don't think you would have liked the energy she was giving. Okay. And she came back, but she did. Brahma was smart. She ran back to Whitney to get ahead of her mess. So you got to be careful, Heather. You got to be faster because Bronwyn is on the same page. Okay. She know how to cover herself with her two-faced self. But yeah, the energy was a little different for me. So Heather is putting too much on it. Lisa wasn't defending Bronwyn at all. And they have an 8-year friendship. So what's up with that? Hello, Lisa. But Lisa kind of reminds you of Tamara. She ain't nobody's friend. But she's passionate. But I don't know. Let me get her. Lisa, she's not all the way like Tamara because Tamara's nobody's friend. But Lisa kind of can. I think Lisa just wants you to agree with her, and then she'll be your friend. Kind of like Tamara, right? So Whitney says, if someone is vulnerable with you about their trauma, do not weaponize them. Girl, what page of the book did you get that from? What book are you reading? This is the healed Whitney talking, so let her do her thing. And Lisa used her word to steamroll and said it means going on a no. It's no. So she said something about steamrolling her. And so Lisa said, oh no, steamrolling is when someone going on a podcast to talk about me and when they can't defend themselves. Oh no. Did I even say that right? Sorry, y'all. She said, I actually I couldn't even gather, but Whitney said something about steamrolling. And then Lisa, like, Lisa tried to check her. So Lisa was like, no, steamrolling is means when you're going on a podcast to talk about your friends when they can't defend themselves. Whitney says her intention was not to hurt her, but but she needs her to understand there was a reason that she was provoked. Lisa said, all you do is talk in your feelings and you need to talk in facts so we can have a good conversation. Ooh. Wow. So Whitney says, the fact is, you've been a SHITTY friend. So then they have a back and forth and back again. Lisa said, you bonded with me over your hatred for me. Wow. Lisa is on to something. Lisa, she's sharp. She's sharp. Meredith says she feels the same way. Oh, God. Meredith had to put her 2 cents in, and I feel the same. Whitney apologizes to Lisa, but not to Meredith. Meredith noticed, checked it, and in her confessionals, she was like, oh, she didn't give me an apology. Yes, I would have liked one. You'll get yours next week, baby, Meredith. Stay tuned. So then Whitney says she feels comfortable. Oh, excuse me. She feels comfortable with inviting them all to the Milwaukee show for 2 days. Child. They're gonna do stuff. There's a bathtub involved, and this, that, and that, and everybody can come. And everybody's all excited, honey. And Meredith says she's not sure she can make it. They'll talk later. And Whitney in her confessional says, I hope she can't make it. Child, okay. I said, okay. Whitney said, well, I hope she can't make it. Sure, she ain't got it to do. Well, you do need her to make it so you'll know what to copy next, Whitney. Child, that was the episode. Salt Lake City came in hot in that cold, then gave me a cold. I should be better soon, besties. I'm sorry for the coughing, the choking, the blowing the nose, the drinking. But honey, I had to get this review out because it was burning in my soul. But next week, I'm going to have to turn my heater on and have my fuzzy socks on and some tea and a blanket because, honey, I done got a cold from watching Salt Lake City at the beginning of fall. Besties, put your comments down in the comment section. Let me know how you felt about this week's episode. What do you rate it? And what do you want to rename it? What do you want to do you like my renames? I do. Okay, besties. I'm out. I will see you on the